solution at our family-owned and operated local institution.
Hey, it's Matt, Michael.
If you're dealing with an infestation and you want to turn the tide, you got Four Seasons Pest Solutions on your side.
Hey, I'm Matt with Four Seasons Pest Solutions, and we have here with us today Kerry Cox. Kerry's been in this business for a long time, and today what we're going to do is a little raw and unscripted interview, and we're going to find out a little bit about Kerry and how he has worked in this company all these years. Kerry, let's just get right into it.
Okay.
It's good to have you, and been enjoying working with you all these years. Tell us a little bit about how you came into this job.
I was working for Orkin Extermination Company, and Orkin was the type of people that would hire you for a season and lay you off. I got tired of getting laid off, so I ran into Mr. Jim Jeffers, who owned Cumberland Exterminators, and talked to him, and went to work there and been there ever since.
I got to meet Jim. Unfortunately, when his wife passed away, this company came up for sale, and me and Kerry got to talk, got to know each other, and Jim and I got to talk a little bit and know each other, and appreciate the time that he spent in the industry and his wife as well. I think Kerry might have a little something to say about Miss Ruth.
Yeah, I worked for Miss Ruth Jeffers. She was actually the owner of Cumberland Exterminators, and the reason I stayed with her so long because she treated everyone who worked there like a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a very nice lady to work for, and I still miss her today.
Yeah. That's that says a lot about an employer. And says a lot about the type of company that Cumberland Service has been through the years. And, we come across Cumberland Service in 2014 and were able to acquire that company. And, of course, Kerry and another employer or two came with the company, and they've been with us ever since. So we've appreciated that. And Cumberland was built on years of successful management, and it's just gone a long way for our company now. It's helped us in a tremendous way. So, Kerry, tell us a little bit about what, this is a good question because I already know the answer to it, but tell us a little bit about what territory you covered. Tell us all about it, even outside of these local states. Tell us where you've been.
When I was working, I was covering most of Kentucky and majority of northeastern Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I went far south is Knoxville. As far east is Whitesburg, as far north is Louisville, and as far west is Bowling Green.
Okay. We still cover all those territories today, but tell us a little bit deeper, because you didn't just work in Tennessee and Kentucky. You did some work outside of those two states, right?
No.
Down in Florida?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mr.
okay.
Jim Jeffers owned a company in Florida, and during the winter when it gets slow around here, I'd go to Florida and help him. And that gave me a little insight on the insect population in Florida and different type of ways of treating.
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit of difference too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. A few different pests that we don't have here. So why didn't you just stay in Florida?
Too hot.
I agree. They can have it. They can have it. So what was your job description when you were full time in this job? What was your job description?
I was a general manager of Cumberland Service Exterminators, and I run a full route on top of that.
So from 2014 until his retirement,
yeah.
He did the same thing for us. And still today, he's a big help to us, and we really appreciate him. What in your years of service, what was probably your favorite thing about the job?
Meeting people.
Meeting people.
Yes.
Meeting people. I agree. That's a really good thing about it. You get to meet a lot of people, and some of them you come to really develop friendships and long-term, lifetime friendships with, and then some of them you just don't like it all, do you?
That's right.
But always remember, if you're a Four Seasons or a Cumberland Service Exterminators customer, we're going to treat you like we love you, whether we do or not. So how long have you done this?
Going on 40 years.
40 years. Well, I'm 44, soon to be 45. So you're right there. You've been doing it almost as long as I've been alive. So it's a good business to be in.
Business.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable work if you like meeting public and being out in this open like this.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. What? Well, why did you? So this kind of along that same line. Why did you pick this career and stick with it?
I picked the career because I thought it'd be something I would like to do. You know, extermination. I did some. I was a gardener, did a garden, and had pesticides. Had to try the bugs off of my crops and stuff. And I thought, might do this for a living.
So you kind of so that's kind of George Washington Carver. He was kind of an innovator years ago in pest control. I know he probably doesn't get a lot of recognition in the pest control industry, but he helped develop a lot of pest control products for crops. A matter of fact, and you can study that. But so you kind of like George Washington Carver, you got to experiment a little bit, and then said, "Hey, you know what? I think I'd like to do this." Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that about you. So, and this is a question that we're trying to ask all the technicians now. You've told us what you like about the job, how you came to it, and generally we would ask how long you plan on doing this, but you've already done it for 40 years, so and you've already retired, and that's another question we asked. You plan on doing it till you retire, but tell us a little bit about that. So you retired, and
I retired, and I come back to help Matt here at Four Seasons and Cumberland work both of them. When they get a little shorthanded and need some work done, or somebody can't get to it, they call me, and I come back and do it for them.
So Kerry, he's good. I mean, we can call Kerry. We can depend on him to do termite work. We can depend on him to do any type of fogging, general pest control. I mean, just pretty much he's all around. If it needs to be done, Kerry can go do it. And we don't have to wonder if he knows how to do it. We don't have to train him. And so he's very helpful in that aspect. And we really appreciate him. Now, he had big shoes that had to be filled when Kerry left his route. And so that means a lot to us. Well, what would you say is probably the most common pest that you dealt with while you were in the business?
German cockroach.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Well, let me ask you this: why do you think the German cockroach was the biggest pest you dealt with? Do you think it had anything to do with income and different, the areas?
No. When I was working here in Kentucky, I kind of thought that had to do with the income, but when I went to Florida and worked for Jim down in Florida, I did $500,000 houses that had roaches in them, the same as a $10,000 house. So income had nothing to do with it. Just, I guess, where the roaches are spread.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying then basically is income doesn't have anything to do with getting them?
No.
Do you think it has anything to do with keeping them?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. So this is good insight, because when John and I had this conversation, we said much the same thing, except we were saying that essentially it seems that income is the dividing factor, is whether you have roaches or don't have roaches. But what you're saying is and there's more clarity, and it actually is more accurate, is that the income diversity is the difference between having them for a long time or getting rid of them quickly.
Correct.
Yeah, that's good insight. So this is what happens when you got 40 years of experience. You think about all this stuff. So, so why, and we've kind of already answered this, but why did you stick with Cumberland Service? Why didn't you look for another company or start your own? Why did you stay at Cumberland Service?
They paid me good, and they treated me like family.
Paid you good and treated you like family. So would you say that when Cumberland Service switched hands, that you stopped getting paid good and stopped being treated like family?
It just kept right on.
So
never missed a beat.
Never missed a beat.
Never missed a beat.
I appreciate that. But I already knew the answer to that, because we try hard for that. But I'm glad to hear it come from your mouth. So, well, I was thinking about not asking you this question, and you may have to think a little bit about it. But just take us through what a typical day would be like for Kerry if you were running a route.
Well, you start out and you get your route sheet out, what you're going to do, your route sheet out, and so what you're going to do that day. And you load your truck, check all your equipment on the truck, make sure you got everything you need for that day, and you head to your first stop. And you get there, and sometimes they're home like it's supposed to be, sometimes they're not, and you got to reschedule, you go to your next stop, and you just kind of work all day long going from stop to stop. And some days you'll get 20 stops done, some days you get 10 stops done. It depends on the people, the location, and weather.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. So, well, what type of people did you run across most of the time?
Very nice people. Majority of people, when they called Exterminators Company, they were very nice. You occasionally run across one that tried to tell you how they wanted to do the job the way they want it done, instead of the way you're supposed to do it or why you're required to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of people, you went there, you explained what you're going to do, and they said, you're a professional, the reason I hired you, do it.
Yeah. So let's raise the question then. And this is good that I get to ask you this one. So you said sometimes people want you to do it the way they want you to do it. So when they ask you to do it the way they wanted you to do it, how did you respond to that?
I said, I can do it the way you want me to do it. I'll do it my way. My way, I put a warranty on it. Your way, the warranty's in my back pocket. When I leave, it's gone.
I knew that was coming, and I wanted to hear it again. So, well, what out of all the kind of people that you met, what would you say? Not who, but what would you say was the worst kind of person, worst kind of customer that you had to deal with?
That'd be hard. I've really no worse customer out there unless it gets to be a younger person. Your elder people were more cooperative. Your younger people, they thought sometimes they knew more than you did. But the majority of the time, there wasn't really bad ones, but I guess younger, real young ones, because they thought they knew more than you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. That's some good insight. I've seen that it seems like the younger generation is a little harder to get a hold of sometimes. But that generation seems to be my generation, and this even younger generation that's coming up seem to be a little bit more flexible, kind of like the older generation was. Back when we had, if you called somebody on the phone, we didn't have telemarketers and all that stuff. If your phone rang, you answered it.
Correct.
And then the cell phone industry came in, and now my generation is so bombarded with phone calls that you just kind of look at it and say, well, I'll get to that later. But now this younger generation that's coming up has been on the text kick. Yeah. So and they answer and they respond to text. So it seems like it's been maybe gradually getting easier to get a hold of them again.
It has that way. And the last few years, to get a hold of the customers, instead of calling them, I would text them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that's a drastic change.
Yes.
And we've seen that through the years. So well, that's good. So you didn't have you didn't have any bad customers then.
No. Had some crazy ones once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're all a little crazy to some degree. Yeah. Well, what's probably the most frequently asked question that you dealt with on a regular basis?
You tell you, this right here really gets me. What I'm going to tell you. You walk into the home, first thing out of their mouth, will this hurt my pets? And you look around, and they got children running around. They're not concerned about their children, they're concerned about their dogs and cats. Mm-hmm. That just kind of gripes me. I don't know. Yeah. It does.
Yeah. Well, I can attest to this as well. That more than 1,000 times that I've had this happen. You walk in, and sometimes I can be a little smart aleck about it. But you walk into an account and you're getting ready to get started, and they say, "Now, will this hurt my pets?" And so I say, "Well, no, it won't hurt your pets or your children either." So. By the way, I guess to some degree, from a customer standpoint, they're thinking, well, they know that I'm human. And if they thought this would hurt a human, they would have told me on the phone. But we didn't mention that we had pets. So I think on the one hand, they're thinking, pets and people are different. We know it doesn't hurt people or they wouldn't be here. But by the way, I have pets. But either way, I get what you're saying. Is it always got me too, because I just felt like the first and most important thing would have been the kids. But that tells us a whole lot about what people prioritize in many.
Well, they even come to the point, ask me, do I need to take my pets out, and not mention children.
Not mention the children.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a topic for a different discussion too.
Yes, it is. I guess it's one of the biggest gripes I had in this industry was people asking that question.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of mine too. Well, do you have anything to add?
No, anybody out there thinking about pest control as a career? It is a very rewarding career, and come do it.
Yeah. It's very rewarding. It pays well. Yeah. At least here it pays well. I think anybody that's looking for a career, this is a great career to get into by all means. We have some good techs. We have techs that's been here as you know, with Kerry with 40 years, and soon hopefully we'll be interviewing Ralph. He's been doing this for 25 roughly. Yeah. So it's a career. Well, Kerry, we appreciate you being here today, and I know you've got stuff to go do. We'll let you get out of here, but if you ever need pest control, Four Seasons Pest Solutions and our sister company, Cumberland Service Exterminators. We've got everything that you need. You may even get to see Kerry out there. But remember this, it's okay to live among pests. You don't have to live with them.
Any pest, any season, we're the solution. At our family-owned and operated local institution.
Hey, it's Matt, Michael.
If you're dealing with an infestation and you want to turn the tide, you got 4 seasons